now we're in chapter 3.2 and we're going to be graphing linear equations using the intercepts. Our first objective is to use a graph to identify the intercepts. So the following equation, ax plus by equals c, is a standard form of a line Whenever you graph ax plus by equals c, you'll end up with a line as long as a and b are both not 0 at the same time. The way to graph the standard form is to use the intercepts. You have an x-intercept and you have a y-intercept. The x-intercept is a coordinate or a point that's found on the x-axis. Since it's on the x-axis, we know y is going to be equal to 0. So again, I'll say it again, the x-intercept is a point on the x-axis. And since it's on the x-axis, we know y is set to 0, so this point is 2, 0. If you were to look at this equation, and you set y equal to 0, so in this equation I have y equals 4x minus 8. If I set y equal to 0, and then solve for x by adding 8 on both sides, then dividing by 4, you'll get x equals 2, which is the x-intercept. The y-intercept is a point found on the y-axis, and since it's on the y-axis, we know x is equal to 0. So this y-intercept is 0, 4. And here is the equation y equals 3x plus 4. Well, let's see what happens if we put 0 in for x. So we have y equals 3 times 0 plus 4. That goes away, so we have y equals 4, the y-intercept. So let's identify the x and y-intercepts. Well, the x-intercept is a point that crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is a point that crosses the y-axis. So here's the x-axis, it goes left to right. There's the origin, that makes that -1, -2, -3. So the x-intercept is -3, 0. And the y-intercept is 5. So that should be 0, 5. And again, it says identify the x and y-intercepts. So the x-intercept, then the y-intercept. Well, the graph crosses the origin, which means the x-intercept is 0, 0. And again, since it's crossing the origin, the y-intercept is also 0, 0. All right, objective 2, we're going to graph a linear equation in 2 variables using the intercepts. Steps for graphing. Step 1 is to find the x-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? You let y equal 0 and you solve for x. Then you're going to find the y-intercept. And how do you find the y-intercept? You set x equal to 0 and you solve for y. And then you can find a checkpoint if you needed one, an extra point. And when you find your checkpoint, you plug in any value for x, then solve for y. Remember, x is your independent variable and y is your dependent variable. And then step 4 is to graph or connect the 3 points to make your graph. Alright, so graph the equation using the intercepts. So we have the equation -2x plus 4y equals 12. We're going to start the x-intercept. Well, the x-intercept means set y equal to 0. So that's -2x plus 4 times 0 equals 12. So it's negative 2x equals 12. Then let's divide by negative 2. And you have x is negative 6. So the x-intercept is negative 6. Then the y-intercept, you're going to do the opposite. So you're going to set x equal to 0. And then you're going to solve for y. This is gone, so now we have 4y equals 12. Divide by 4 on both sides, and you get y is 3. So the y-intercept is 3. The x-intercept is negative 6. And then let's graph it. So x is negative 6, so on the x-axis find the negative 6. Y is 3, so on the y-axis find the 3. And then connect your points. I messed up a little bit. Try it again. Okay, and this is the line negative 2x plus 4y equals 12. Again, we need to find the x and y intercept to graph this. So now we have 4x minus 3y equals 12. We'll start by finding the x-intercept. So set y equal to 0 and solve for x. So the x-intercept is 3. And now we need to find the y-intercept. So this time we set x equal to 0 and solve for y. And we get the y-intercept to be negative 4. And then we're going to graph these. So x is equal to 3, so find the 3 on the x-axis. Y is equal to negative 4, so find the negative 4 on the y-axis. And then connect your points. And this is the line 4x minus 3y equals 12. All right, let's graph x plus 3y equals 0. So again, we're going to start by finding our x-intercept. And we know that means y equals 0. So we have x equals 0. Then we're going to find the y-intercept. And we know that means x equals 0. So we have y equals 0, which means they have the same point as their intercept, which is the origin. So this time we're going to actually need a third point. So this is the checkpoint. So let's let x equal negative 3. And what we're going to do is solve for y. So we have negative 3 plus 3y equals 0. Add 3 on both sides, and we have 3y equals 3. divide by 3, and we have y equals 1. So this is the point -3, 1. Now we can graph. So the point x-intercept is x equals 0, so it's at the origin. The y-intercept is y equals 0, so it's still at the origin. And then we're going to use this additional point, -3, 1. Connect your points. And this is the line x plus 3y equals 0. Alright, so objective 3 is now graphing horizontal and vertical lines. Let's look at the horizontal line first. The horizontal line goes left to right, which means it's going to cross the y-axis. So it's the equation y equals b. And where it crosses the y-axis is the y-intercept. So b is the y-intercept. And it goes left to right. The vertical line goes up and down, so it's going to cross the x-axis. And where it crosses is the equation, where it crosses is the x-intercept. So you get the equation x equals a, where a is the intercept, the x-intercept. So since horizontal goes left to right, it crosses the y-axis, and it's the equation y equals b. Since vertical goes up and down, it crosses the x-axis, and it's the equation x equals a. Alright, so let's graph the linear equation y equals -4. Now, we can look at this equation and tell it is a horizontal line, because it says y equals something. There are no x's here, just y, which means it's going to have to cross the y-axis. Now, if you cannot tell that from looking at the equation, you can go back and pick out 2 points, just like we did in 3.1. So you can have an xy table. And this says y equals -4, which means y is always going to be -4. And I can pick x to be anything since x does not appear in this equation. So how about 0 and -1? So I have the points 0, -4, and -1, -4. So 0, -4, and -1, -4. And then connect your points. And there you go, it is a horizontal line, and it goes to the y-axis at -4. So if you see an equation where y is the only variable, and it says y equals a number, that is a horizontal line passing through y equals -4, which is the y-intercept. Now let's graph the line x equals 5. Well, again, this is a vertical line, but if you cannot tell that, you can again pick your points. This time they're telling you x is 5, so x will always be 5. And since y doesn't appear in the equation, I can pick it to be anything I want. How about 0 and -1? So I have the points 5, 0 and 5, -1. Let's graph. So 5, 0, and and then 5, -1. Connect your points. And it is a vertical line passing through x equals 5. Okay, so this concludes our video for 3.2. Please email me if you have any questions.